A blind war veteran walked into a canine rehabilitation center hoping to find a calm guide dog, but something unexpected happened. Instead of stopping near the friendly dogs, he paused in front of the kennel of the most dangerous retired police dog in the entire center, a dog no one could control, a dog everyone feared. And the moment that dog sensed him, everything changed. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. And I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel. The quiet hallway echoed with the tapping sound of a white cane. Tap, tap, tap. The man holding it was Ethan Walker, a former Army sergeant, a decorated soldier. But 3 years ago, an explosion during a mission took his eyesight. Since then, the world had been dark, yet Ethan moved carefully and confidently, guided by memory and sound. The smell of disinfectant and wet fur filled the air. He had finally reached the Canine Rehabilitation and Adoption Center. He had spent weeks preparing for this visit, not because he feared dogs, but because he feared disappointment. A woman approached him. "Mr. Walker, welcome. I'm Karen." "Please, call me Ethan," he replied softly. Karen smiled. "We have several calm service dogs ready for you to meet." Ethan nodded. "I'm not looking for perfect," he said quietly. "I just want a partner who understands." Karen guided him down a long hallway lined with steel kennels. Dogs barked and moved inside their cages. Some sounded excited, some sounded lonely. Ethan listened carefully. Animals expressed emotions that humans often tried to hide. Suddenly, a violent snarl exploded through the hallway. Metal bars shook. A powerful dog barked with terrifying force. Karen stopped instantly. "Let's keep moving," she said quickly. "That dog is not available for adoption." Ethan tilted his head. "What's wrong with him?" Karen hesitated. "He's a retired police canine. His name is Thor. He's aggressive, unpredictable. Honestly, he's dangerous." But Ethan didn't move. There was something in that bark, not just anger, something deeper, something painful. As they walked past, Ethan heard staff whispering nearby. "That dog is a monster," one handler said quietly. "He bent the kennel bars again this morning." "Why keep him here?" another asked. "Because he used to save lives," someone replied. "But now no one can even get close to him." Ethan frowned. "What happened to him?" Karen sighed. Thor had a partner, a police officer. They worked together for years, but during a warehouse raid, there was an explosion. The officer died. Thor survived. But after that, he changed. He attacked anyone who came near him. Now he lives alone. Ethan felt a tight knot in his chest. He understood loss, more than most people. Suddenly, Thor slammed into the kennel bars again. The metal shook loudly. Handlers rushed forward. "Everyone back away! Stay clear of the cage!" But then something strange happened. Right in the middle of Thor's furious barking, the dog stopped completely. Silence filled the hallway. Thor inhaled sharply, like he had just recognized something. Then, for the first time in years, the terrifying dog let out a soft whine. The staff stared in disbelief. That sound had never come from him before. Ethan whispered, "That's not anger. That's pain." And somehow, Thor could feel it. Something impossible had just happened. The most dangerous dog in the facility had calmed down, only for Ethan. But what Ethan said next shocked everyone, because he didn't want one of the calm guide dogs. He wanted Thor, and that decision would change both of their lives forever. The hallway was silent after Thor's strange reaction. The handlers looked confused. Karen looked worried. But Ethan stood still, listening to the dog behind the bars. Thor was no longer barking. He was breathing, slowly, waiting. Ethan finally spoke. "I want to meet him." The handlers immediately protested. "No way! That dog is too dangerous. He's attacked staff before." Karen shook her head. "Ethan, Thor isn't safe." But Ethan remained calm. "He didn't attack me. He stopped. That means something." The handlers exchanged nervous looks. Thor suddenly stepped closer to the bars. His collar jingled softly.
He sniffed the air, searching, trying to understand the strange feeling he sensed. Ethan took one careful step forward. The handlers instantly raised their safety poles. "Sir, stop! If he lunges, we can't protect you." But Ethan didn't move back. He listened. Thor's breathing slowed even more. The aggressive dog tilted his head. Then, something unbelievable happened. Thor pressed his nose against the metal bars and let out another soft whine. Karen whispered in shock, "I've never seen him act like this." Ethan spoke gently. "He recognizes something. Pain." Karen looked confused. "What do you mean?" Ethan touched his chest. "Loss." Karen hesitated. Then she quietly told Thor's full story. Thor had been one of the best police dogs in the city. He worked with Officer Daniel Reeves. They were partners for 4 years, always together, always trusting each other. Then, during a dangerous raid, there was an explosion. Officer Reeves died. Thor survived, but he refused to leave his partner's body. When officers tried to pull him away, he attacked them. From that moment on, Thor trusted no one. Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. He lost his partner in the field. Karen nodded. "Yes." Ethan lowered his head. "So did I." The hallway went quiet. "I was in that explosion," Ethan said slowly. "I heard it. I felt the heat. And when I woke up, I couldn't see anymore." Behind the bars, Thor let out a trembling whine, like he understood every word. Ethan slowly reached his hand toward the cage, stopping inches away. "He's not broken," Ethan whispered. "He's grieving." Thor pressed his nose against the metal, shaking softly, and in that moment, Ethan made a decision. "I want to go inside." The staff immediately shouted in panic, "No, he will attack you!" But Ethan stayed calm. "Open the door." Karen's voice trembled. "Ethan, I can't allow that." But Ethan spoke quietly. "Pain recognizes pain. Let me try." After a long silence, Karen finally nodded to a handler. The heavy kennel door unlocked. Everyone held their breath. Ethan stepped inside. Thor growled deeply. The handlers raised tranquilizers. One wrong move, and it would be over. But Ethan knelt slowly, holding out his hand. "I'm not here to replace him," he said softly. "I just want to understand." Thor stepped closer. One step, then another. The dog sniffed Ethan's hand, then suddenly moved closer to Ethan's chest. He sniffed the jacket Ethan was wearing, and then Thor made a broken sound, a sound of pure emotion. Ethan touched his jacket. "This vest belonged to someone in my unit. I kept it after the explosion." Thor began to tremble, the scent of another soldier, a scent connected to trauma, to loss. Slowly, Thor lowered his head and rested it on Ethan's shoulder. The room fell completely silent. The most dangerous dog in the center was trusting someone again. For the first time since losing his partner, Thor had accepted someone new. But just when it seemed everything might work out, the center's director arrived, and he refused to let Ethan adopt the dog. But what happened next, no one could have predicted. Thor rested his head against Ethan's shoulder. For the first time in a year, the dog looked calm, peaceful, but suddenly a loud voice echoed through the room. "What is going on here?" The facility director had arrived, Mr. Halverson. He stared in shock. "The kennel is open? And a blind man is inside with that dog?" Karen tried to explain. "Sir, something unusual happened." Halverson interrupted. "That dog is unstable. He cannot be adopted." Thor lifted his head. A low, protective rumble came from his chest. He moved slightly in front of Ethan, guarding him. Halverson pointed at the handlers. "Remove him from the kennel." As the staff approached, Thor growled louder. His body was trembling with fear, not anger, fear of losing someone again. Ethan gently touched his fur. "It's okay, boy." But the staff kept moving closer. Thor snapped at a pole. The room erupted with shouting. Finally, Ethan stepped away. "I'll come back," he promised Thor. The moment Ethan left the kennel, Thor lost control. He slammed against the bars, barking wildly. Not attacking, grieving. Then suddenly, an alarm blared through the building. Red lights flashed everywhere. "Fire in Wing C!" Smoke began filling the hallway. Staff rushed toward the exits. Karen grabbed Ethan. "We have to evacuate." But Ethan froze. Thor is still inside. The doors are locked. Another explosion shook the building. Flames spread through the ventilation system. Halverson shouted, "Everyone out now!" But Ethan didn't move. "I'm not leaving him." Karen panicked. "You can't see. You'll get lost in the smoke." Ethan shook his head. "Thor will find me." Before anyone could stop him, Ethan ran into the burning hallway. Smoke filled the air. Heat burned his lungs. He shouted through the flames, "Thor!" A desperate bark answered him. Thor's voice guided him through the darkness. "Keep barking, boy," Ethan yelled. "I'm coming." Finally, Ethan reached the kennel. The door was burning hot. He wrapped his jacket around his hand and pulled. It wouldn't open. Thor slammed his body against the door. "Again!" Ethan shouted. Thor hit the door again. The weakened lock snapped. The kennel burst open. Thor ran out of the smoke, but instead of attacking, he circled Ethan anxiously. Then he pressed his body against Ethan's side, guiding him, step by step, through the burning hallway, dodging falling debris, leading him toward safety. Finally, they burst out of the building. Firefighters rushed forward. Thor refused to leave Ethan's side. The once feared dog had just saved his life. Karen arrived, crying with relief. "I've never seen him like this." Ethan stroked Thor's fur. "He didn't save me because he was trained. He saved me because he didn't want to lose another partner." Director Halverson watched silently, then finally sighed. "Fine, Thor goes home with you." Months later, Thor became Ethan's guide dog. The once dangerous canine now helped Ethan walk safely through the world, and during a police ceremony, Thor received a hero's medal. Ethan smiled and whispered to him, "Thank you for finding me." Because in the end, Ethan didn't rescue Thor. Thor rescued him, and together they became stronger than either of them had ever been alone.